Dear students, welcome to Tungal online classes. In the last video, we had started with one chapter, that is cell, the unit of life. Okay, so what is cell? There we saw, and so there we saw some of the things about the cell cytology, cell biology, all these definitions that we had gone through there in the previous class. And let us start with an overview of the cell. In the last class also, I had mentioned the overview of the cell and what are the parts that we come across in one cell, so that we had seen. So, in overview of the cell, practically we take two cells. One is plant cell and another one is animal cell we can take. So, you take the onion peel and you cut a piece of onion peel and keep under the microscope. There you see the onion peel cells. They are nothing but plant cells, right? In the same way, you may take another animal cell from the cheeks of the human being. From the cheek you can get one cell, right? So, and that cheek cell is an animal cell. Whenever we see the plant cell as well as animal cell, so what kind of differences that we come across here? Let us see diagrammatically now. Okay, so this is one plant cell. Okay, this is a cell wall. Inner to the cell wall, there you come across plasma membrane, and there is a large vacuole which covers maximum part of the cell, and there is a prominent nucleus. Nucleus is there, vacuole is there, and maybe the cell wall is there, and inner to the cell membrane is there. Cell membrane is there. This is a plant cell. So one more animal cell you can take over here. So that is human cheek cell we consider over here. Okay, so this cell has a definite boundary around the cell, and that is cell membrane. Cell membrane, that is nothing but plasma membrane. Plasma membrane. See here, in these cells, whenever we consider the plant cell, there is a definite boundary which is the thick or rigid cell wall. What is that? Cell wall. Plant cell is surrounded by cell wall, and inner to this cell wall there the plasma membrane. Inner to the cell wall there is a plasma membrane that we come across over here, right? So this is the fact. And whenever you consider animal cell, that is human cheek cell, right? So here onion peel. So from which we saw the plant cell and animal cell, that is human cheek cell we consider. In that there is a definite boundary which is plasma membrane. And this is the delimiting membrane. This is the delimiting membrane of this cell. Okay, so this is the fact what we must know, right? So this is the fundamental fact what we should know. Along with this one, so there is a definite nucleus at the central axis or the central part of the cell, right? So what is there? There is a nucleus. What is that? There is a nucleus in both the cells. Here centrally located nucleus is there and peripherally located nucleus is there. Okay, so like this there is a nucleus. And this nucleus is membrane bound one. What is this one? Membrane bound one. Okay, this nucleus has What is that? A thread-like material inside it, and this thread-like material is called as what? It is chromatin network. Chromatin network. So there is a chromatin network inside the nucleus, which is highly coiled structure, and that thread-like material, which is called as chromatin network. Why it is called as chromatin network? Is because chroma means colored, right? There is a colored material. Means when you give stain for this one, color for this one, that stain is absorbed by this material only, except all other materials or all other parts of the cell. This becomes colored one. Hence it is called as chromatin network, or chromatic material it is called. And this chromatin material, it condenses or it undergo condensation during cell division. So if this cell is going to divide itself, this start to condense itself. Condense means coil itself tightly. So when it start to coil itself, forming a very condensed structures called as chromosomes. So chromatin network undergo condensation so as to form chromosomes. And these chromosomes are, how these chromosomes are, this is one chromosome you can observe here. This is one chromosome. And this is made up of what? Chromatin network. So what happens to the chromatin network? It condenses. What happens to this one? It condenses so as to form very condensed structures, and those condensed structures are called as chromosomes. See here, it condenses, it coils so as to form these chromosomes. Such kind of 46 number of chromosomes that we come across in a human cell. In one animal cell, 46 number of chromosomes are formed within this nucleus. This is chromosome. These are called as vehicles of heredity. What these are called as? Vehicles of heredity. Why they are called so? Why? Because these are the structures, minute thread-like structures, which help in carrying the genetical information from one generation to another generation. That is nothing but from parents to offsprings, right? So through gametes itself, right? Through gametes. Gametes are also made up of cells. They are a kind of animal cells which contain 23 number of chromosomes, means haploid number of chromosomes. Each cell has a diploid number of chromosomes, and this cell is said to be as the body cell. What it is called as? Body cell has diploid number of, that is nothing but 2n number of chromosomes are present over here. And in gametes 23 number of chromosomes is represented by small n, that is haploid number of chromosomes are present in gametes, right? So that's why through these gametes only, these chromosomes are sent to the next generation. Why? Because male gamete comes from father, female gamete comes from mother. Both of them fuse together, forming a zygote. Zygote develops into embryo, right? Embryo grows into fetus. Fetus grows into new individual. Then where are these chromosomes now? So they came from parents to offsprings. So carrying the genetical information from parents to offsprings. Genetical information is nothing but all the genetical characters. So that is hereditary characters are carried over here from one generation to another generation. It is done by the chromosomes. Hence these are called as vehicles of heredity. What chromosomes are called as? Chromosomes are called as vehicles of heredity, right? Such kind of chromosomes mainly consisting of the genetical material. What is chromosomes chemically made up of? They are made up of DNA DNA as well as proteins. So then what these chromosomes mainly consisting of? They consisting of DNA. Very simple. When you uncoil this chromatin network or the condensed network, so that moment you will find this kind of structure. What is that structure? That structure is nothing but a thread-like material, and that thread-like material is called as DNA. Along with that one, so there are some proteins are present. I will show that. Okay. So when you uncoil this one, that moment you will find this kind of structure, and these are nothing but proteins. Around these proteins, there the genetic material, that is DNA is present. DNA is present along with these proteins, and these proteins are called as histone proteins. What these proteins are known as? Histone proteins. Now I hope it is very clear to you all that so the vehicles of heredity, when they are uncoiled, the moment we see this kind of structure that contains DNA as well as histone proteins. Okay, so this is very clear to you now, I hope, right? So cell mainly consisting of the nucleus. In both plant as well as animal cell mainly consisting of nucleus. So come to the outside the nucleus. What is there? So there you come across what? There is a semi-fluid matrix is present over here, and that semi-fluid matrix is called as cytoplasm. What it is called as? Cytoplasm. Semi-fluid matrix is called as cytoplasm. In the cytoplasm, you will come across many cell organelles. What are present in the cytoplasm? Many cell organelles that you come across. You have studied all the cell organelles, of course. So these cell organelles are of two types. There are two types of cell organelles that we come across. One is membrane bound cell organelles and membrane less cell organelles. Membrane bound cell organelles, membrane less cell organelles are the two types of organelles that we come across. Mainly, so in that one of the master cell organelle called as nucleus. And this nucleus may have a definite boundary around it. That is nothing but cell membrane, plasma membrane is there around this cell organelle. So may not be present sometimes. Based on that one, so the cells are of two types, right? Based on the membrane bound cell organelle is present inside the cell. So based on the absence of these membrane bound cell organelles, so there are two types of cells that we come across, especially one of the cell organelle, that is nucleus. If the nucleus has a definite boundary, that is a membrane around the nucleus, nuclear membrane is there, then this kind of cell is called as eukaryotic cell. If there is no definite boundary or the membrane around the nucleus, and that kind of cell is called as prokaryotic cell. Based on this membrane, so there are two types of cells. One is prokaryotic, and the second one is eukaryotic. Dougherty is the name of the scientist, the one who classified two types of a cell based on the membraneless or membrane bound cell organelles present presence or absence of the membrane bound cell organelles. There are two types of cells we classified there. Is it very clear to you all? I hope it is very clear to you all, right? So like this, prokaryotic cell is one type of cell, eukaryotic cell is another type of cell based on the presence or absence of membrane around the nucleus. See here, so the name itself suggests us what kind of cell it is. Pro means first. Pro means first. Carry-on. Here pro means first. Carry-on means nucleus. The first formed nucleus doesn't have a nuclear membrane. That kind of cell without nuclear membrane called as prokaryotic cell. Eukaryotic cell, the meaning of eukaryote, eu means true, karyon means nucleus. If the cell has a true nucleus or the nuclear membrane bound nucleus, then it is called as eukaryotic cell. It is called as eukaryotic cell. This way, so the cells are of two types. Yes, so let us see what are other cell membrane bound cell organelles that we come across here in these cells. So membrane bound cell organelles. So usually these are present in the eukaryotic cells, and these are absent in prokaryotic cell. Okay, so what are those membrane bound cell organelles? Let us list out all of them now. So what are those membrane bound cell organelles that we come across in the eukaryotic cell? So one is mitochondria, chloroplast, Golgi complex, endoplasmic reticulum, right? Vacuoles, lysosomes. So such kind of many microbodies, all of these are membrane bound cell organelles that are seen in case of eukaryotic cell. Okay. So, but the same kind of membrane bound cell organelles are majority of the time absent in prokaryotic cell, right? In prokaryotic cell they are absent, right? And the next one. So already I have told you there is a semi-fluid matrix called as cytoplasm, and in this cytoplasm there many number of chemical reactions are taking place. Chemical reactions are taking place inside the cytoplasm, and all these chemical reactions so keep the cell in living state. So what is they keep the cell in a living state. They keep the cell in a living state. Okay, so this is chemical reactions what are taking place in the cytoplasm. They always keep the cell in living state. So this is more important point to be noted from NCERT. Okay, so right. So one thing, and membrane bound cell organelles like this all are present in the eukaryotic cell. They are absent in prokaryotic cell. But membraneless cell organelles are also there, and they are present in both prokaryotic as well as eukaryotic cells that we come across here. What they are, especially ribosomes. See here, these ribosomes are the membraneless cell organelles, which are commonly known as protein factories. These are commonly known as protein factories. These protein factories, called as ribosomes, are membraneless cell organelles, and these ribosomes are present both in prokaryotic as well as eukaryotic cell commonly. Okay, and these ribosomes are of two types. One is bounded ribosomes, and second one is free ribosomes. One is bounded ribosomes, second one is free ribosomes. Free ribosomes are usually sailing inside the cytoplasm. Where they are present? They are present in the cytoplasm. Okay, and bounded ribosomes, they are bounded to or attached to some of the structures like endoplasmic reticulum, where they are attached to endoplasmic reticulum as well as outer membrane of the nucleus. So nuclear membrane right here, they are attached not only to the endoplasmic reticulum but also to the nuclear membrane, and these are also present in, very important point to be noted over here. So these ribosomes are also present in the cell organelles like mitochondria, and even they are present in the chloroplast. They are present in chloroplast, and endoplasmic reticulum is so also there. So this point we noted over here. So why? Because this is a neat point, very important point. So neat point. Okay. So where are these ribosomes present? In mitochondria, in chloroplast as well as in the endoplasmic reticulum, outer membrane. They are bounded to, along with the nuclear membrane. They are bounded to. This is the fact what you should remember always. Okay. I hope it is very clear to you now. Okay, so these are different types of ribosomes which are membraneless cell organelles. Along with this one more point is there. What is the one more point? Centrioles. So centrosome is one of the cell organelle which contains, which contains a pair of centrioles which are lying right angles to each other. This is one centriole and this is another centriole. So like this, they are lying right angles to each other and they are very close to the nucleus. Here they are present. So both the centrioles together form what? Centrosome. Centrosome. It is also one of the membraneless cell organelle which is present inside animal cell. It is present only in animal cell, not in plant cell. Remember this point, very important point to be noted. Okay, centrioles are usually present in animal cell. What do they help for? These centrioles, I mean a pair of centrioles which are lying very close to the nucleus, they duplicate themselves and they start to move towards another pole during division of the cell. During cell division, these help in formation of spindle fibers. They help in formation of spindle fibers. So you might have seen this diagram very clearly in cell division, study of cell division, right? So what are these spindle fibers? I shall show you here diagrammatically. See here, this is one cell. During cell division, nuclear membrane that disappears. What happens here? here is one centriole, here is one centriole. Already I have told you, it moves towards another pole over here. And so there, the formation of spindle fibers that take place. What is a spindle fibers? To these spindle fibers, the chromosomes are bounded. To these spindle fibers, chromosomes are bounded over here. Right? So you can see here, this is one spindle fiber with the centromere of the chromosome that attaches, that forms over here. Like this. So this is nothing but spindle fiber. This is spindle fiber. Right? This spindle fiber along with that of the chromosome that move towards both the sides. Half of the chromosome move towards this pole, half of the chromosome move towards this pole, and the cell that divides. So that what happens? So some number of chromosomes that remain in one cell and some number of chromosomes that remain in another cell. Division of the cell that take place over here. During cell division, the spindle fibers are formed to which the chromosomes are hanged. Right? Keep this fundamental knowledge with you, that would help you in studying cell division also. After this chapter, I shall start with that one. So that moment you will come to know the fact. Right? So now I hope you are very clear with the function of the centrosome or centriole and the difference between centrosome and centriole. Okay, these are some cell membrane-less cell organelles that we come across. Along with this one more membrane-less cell organelle that we come across, and that membrane-less cell organelle is small nucleus present inside the nucleus. That is nucleolus. What is that? Nucleolus is a small nucleus present inside the nucleus called as nucleolus. Right? And so this nucleus thoroughly we study in next coming classes. So, but which are the membrane-less cell organelles that you must keep in your mind. So, this nucleolus is not only present in an animal cell, it is also present in a plant cell also. So, it is very clear to you. I hope so. Now, whenever we go through the shape and size of the cells, there are varieties of shapes of the cells that we come across, and various sized cells that we come across in the body of both animal as well as plant cells, right? So let us see the size of the cells as well as shapes of the cells now. Size of cells. See here, one of the smallest cell is mycoplasma. Mycoplasma gallisepticum. Mycoplasma gallisepticum is one of the prokaryotic cell. Is one of the, so mycoplasma you know it better, and this is the smallest cell which is measuring about 0.3 micron. Alright, micrometer. So 0.3 micrometer itself. And next one is bacterial cell. Bacterial size that differs from one to another one, that is 3 to 5 micrometer diameter. And later, the longest single cell is very long enough in plants, especially. So fibers, you know, xylem fibers, phloem fibers, like that. So xylem fibers, whenever you consider, their xylem fibers, whenever you consider, so especially xylem fibers, that is removed from the hemp, right? So hemp, like plants, they have elongated xylem fibers. It is about is about 55 centimeter in length, and along with this one, right? So there we come across the nerve cell of higher animals. Nerve cell of higher animals is about 1 meter in length. 1 meter in length. And so these are different sized cells that we come across over here. Okay, so like this prokaryotic cell, eukaryotic cell, whenever we consider the smallest, largest cell that we come across over here, which is the largest cell? So the question arises. So the egg of the ostrich itself is a single cell which is a larger one, right? See here, egg of ostrich is largest cell that we consider over here, right? So like this largest cell, smallest cell that we consider mammals, right? So this is about the size of the cell. What about the shape of the cell? What about different shapes of cells? So that variously modified cells that you come across over here in a body of human being as well as all other animals as well as plants, right? So they may be oval in shape, they may be spherical in shape, they may be round in shape, so rectangular in shape, elliptical in shape, so isodiametric in shape, polygonal in shape. So like this different varieties of shapes of cells that we come across. Some of the cells which are common one we shall write over here. So oval shape, spherical, oval, spherical, round, rectangular shaped cell, okay, and club shaped cell, polygonal, hexagonal, star shape, hexagonal, star shape, and different shaped cells that we come across. One more is nerve cell. Nerve cell itself has its own shape, right? We cannot describe it, right? Nerve cell has its own shape based on the function or the activity what they are going to do. So based on that one, so variously modified cells means various shaped cells that we come across in the body of both plants as well as animals. So see here, palisade parenchyma. What kind of cells they are? Column shaped cells that we come across, that is pillar shaped cells. Flat cells are seen over here. Flat cells, that is epithelial cells, they are flat in nature. They may be isodiametric in the sense that they are similar in length as well as width itself. So that kind of cells are said to be as isodiametric cells, right? So like this varieties of cells that we come across, variously modified, various shaped cells that we come across in different organisms based on their activity itself, right? So like this, these are different shapes of the cells, right? And now we shall go through the different types of cells, that is prokaryotic cell as well as eukaryotic cell. And the structure of prokaryotic cell, how it is, what are its parts, so what are their major functions as well as importance, all these things that we'll have to study. Afterwards eukaryotic cell will start with, right? So first of all, prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. Here prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell. So major difference between these two cells I am going to explain basically, and afterwards we will go through the prokaryotic cell in detail and later eukaryotic cell in detail. So pro, already I have explained. Pro means first, karyon means nucleus, first formed nucleus, that is primitive nucleus. How it was? It doesn't have any nuclear membrane around it. The best example for this prokaryotic cell is bacterial cell. I am going to draw over here. So the simple structure of the bacteria, and it has what? It has the chromosome or the nucleus, and that nucleus doesn't have any definite boundary, and this kind of nucleus is called as nucleoid. What it is known as nucleoid. And this has another kind of DNA, circular DNA. These are known as plasmids. These are plasmids. Okay, capsule is present around the bacterial cell sometimes. Okay, so this is how the nucleoid is there. Nucleus without nuclear membrane is said as nucleoid, or naked DNA, or incipient nucleus, pronucleus. All these are the different names which are given to this nucleoid. So such kind of cells without nuclear membrane called as prokaryotic cell. Eukaryotic cell means U means true, karyon means nucleus. True nucleus having cells are known as what? Eukaryotic cells. See here, this is one animal cell, this is the nucleus. Nucleus has a definite nuclear membrane around it. Hence that kind of nucleus is said to be as true nucleus. So these are eukaryotic cells. Right? Shall we start with the prokaryotic cell now? So in detailed manner, let us go through the structure of prokaryotic cell now itself. Yes, let us start with the prokaryotic cell. So prokaryotic cells are of different kinds. So since they have without a nuclear membrane, right? They are without a nuclear membrane. And some of the examples I am going to take over here for prokaryotic cells means the representatives of these prokaryotic cells are mycoplasma is one best example. So that is mycoplasma. So Gallisepticum is the smallest prokaryotic cell, remember, right? So mycoplasma is one, and PPLO, very important, that is pleuro pneumonia like organisms. This is more important, PPLO, that is pleuropneumonia like organisms. It's expanded, so expansion may be asked in the examination, that is PPLO, very important one. Along with this one, bacteria. Bacteria are the best example for prokaryotic cell, and blue-green algae. Blue-green algae are also best example for this prokaryotic cell itself. Blue-green algae like nostoc, anabina, azolla, oscillatoria, right? So these are best examples for blue-green algae. The smallest bacteria, you may ask in the examination, the smallest bacteria, right? The smallest bacteria itself is the smallest bacteria in the world Dialyster pneumocenter. Dialyster pneumocenter is the smallest bacteria that we come across over here. It is also one of the representative of the prokaryotic cell. See here, whenever we consider the bacteria, so based on the shape of the bacteria, there are different shaped bacteria that we come across over here, and these bacteria are classified into different one based on their shapes. Based on shapes, there are different types of bacteria that we come across. One is a spherical shaped bacteria, another one is a rod shaped bacteria. The spherical shaped bacteria, it is the rod shaped bacteria, and comma shaped bacteria is also there. Comma shaped bacteria is also there, and the second last one is that is the spiral shaped bacteria that you come across over here. Spiral shaped bacteria. So based on the shape, one is coccus and it is called as bacillus. Rod shaped bacteria is called as bacillus. Spherical shaped bacteria is called as coccus, and comma shaped bacteria is called as vibrio, and spiral shaped bacteria spirulum. So like this different shaped bacteria that we come across whenever we classify them, right? So coccus, plural is cocci, bacillus, bacilli, vibrio, so spirulum, spirally, right? So these are different shaped bacteria based on their shapes, right? So these are the representatives of what? The prokaryotic cell. See here, whenever we see or whenever we study the prokaryotic cell, there we divide for our study. It is made very easier. So there we divide the parts, right? So how we divide the parts of this bacterial cell? So let us see by taking an example of the bacterial cell itself, right? So that is prokaryotic cell itself, right? So one of the bacterial cell that we come across here. Whenever you study the ultrastructure of the bacteria, already you have studied it in the previous class. So this is ultrastructure of bacteria that we come across over here, and here that we come across here the pronucleus. This is the nucleoid, and along with this one there are some circular DNAs present, and they are called as plasmids. So these are the extra chromosomal DNA is said as, and here you come across ribosomes. Okay, so this is the ribosome, and some of the ribosomes are folded over here itself. Here and there, the bonding of the ribosomes that take place. Some of themselves are free ribosomes. They are freely selling the cytoplasm. So this is the simple structure of bacterial cell. Okay, here we come across one more part over here. Okay. Here we come across the basal bodies. Plasma. This is the bacterial cell. So for our study, we will have to divide this bacterial cell into several sections. The major sections that we come across is cell and the row. What is the major section? First one, the outermost one, that is cell envelope. Here it is. One thing. And the second one is cytoplasm. What is that? Cytoplasm. And the contents of the cytoplasm that we study in detailed manner. And the third one is nucleus. Is the third one. So this is how we divide the cell into three major sections. It would help us a lot to study thoroughly the prokaryotic cell. Already you have studied in the previous class. Once again now I am going to glance over here. It is too essential for us now. So this is a bacterial cell. This is nothing but it is prokaryotic cell itself. This is prokaryotic cell what we are going to study over here. Okay, so let us start with what cell envelope and other parts of the cell in the next video. Thank you.